Hello, everyone. Good morning. Hola a todos. Muy buenos días. Thank you for joining the call today. Welcome to another teleconference of the WMO Coordination Group on Satellite Data Requirements for Regional Associations 3 and 4. I am Diego Souza from NEMPE, and we hope all is well with you and your families. I would also like to welcome our colleague, Marcial Garbanzo from the University of Costa Rica and the other co-chair of the SDR group. Welcome, Marcial.
Thanks, Diego. Welcome everybody to this teleconference. We have very exciting points for today, and we hope that you get quite a bit of information today from DBNet and also from collaborations in our region. Muchas gracias a todos por estar aquí. Bienvenidos. Hoy vamos a tener varias charlas interesantes donde vamos a aprender acerca de satélites polares, de receptores de satélites polares y también acerca de colaboraciones en la región. Así que espero que aprendamos mucho hoy y que podamos seguir estas colaboraciones tan buenas. Gracias por estar aquí.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much, everyone. This is our 32nd SDR teleconference and the last teleconference of this year. If you missed the previous teleconferences, you may find all the content from the previous 31 teleconferences at the SDR group webpage, like the recordings, the minutes of the meeting, and all the presentations. And this is the agenda for today's call. And after introducing the participants, the co-chairs will present the actions, task forces, and the community interactions we have been working on. Then we will have a presentation on DBNet, the direct broadcast network, with an overview, plans, and engagement through the SDR group. And after that, a presentation from our Mexican colleague from LANOT on the development of the Sargassum product. And we will finish today discussing any other business. So let's introduce the participants of these teleconferences. So I'm seeing Matt Arquette. Hello, Matt. Can you hear us?
Yes, indeed. Hello, Diego. How are you this morning? Hi, Marcial. Very happy to be here. Yeah, I'm here representing the Meteorological Service of Canada. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. I'm seeing Bernie Connell from CIRA. Hi, Bernie. Can you hear us?
Yes. Good morning, Diego.
Daniel Villa. Hola, Daniel.
Hi, everybody. Good morning, good evening to all of you. Nice to meet you again.
Carol Subrasali from Trinidad and Tobago. Hello, Carol. Can you hear us?
Hi. Yes, I can. Good morning, everyone. Hope you can hear me as well. So I say buenos dias y bonjour, and I'm glad to be here.
Thanks, Carol. We also have Diana Rodriguez from the Meteorological Service of Argentina. Hola, Diana.
Hola, good morning. Buenos días a todos. Espero que estén todos bien. I hope we are well. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Gracias, Diana.
Dwayne
Scott from Belize. Hello, Dwayne. Can you hear us?
Yo tampoco podía ver, yo por eso no podía ver.
Hi, Diego and Marshall. Hi, everybody. I've been kind of busy over the past 6 months and have been missing, but I'm trying to get back into the group. So thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, Dwayne. Great to have you back. We have Gabriela Gomez from Mexico. Hola, Gabi. Hello.
Good morning. Hope you're all well.
Thank you. We also have Gustavo Quesada from Meteo Chile. Hola, Gustavo. Hello.
Hello. My name is Gustavo Quesada, and I work in the Dirección Meteorológica de Chile in the Satellite Applications Office.
Thank you. We also have Heikki Pojola from WMO. Hello, Heikki. Can you hear us?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Nice to hear from you.
Thank you, Heikki. We have João Roman from Senami, Peru.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, João. We also have Paula from SMN Argentina. Hola, María. Hola, Paula. Can you hear us?
Hello to everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation. Buenos días a todos.
We also have Martin Rugna. Hola, Martin. Can you hear us?
Yes, buen día. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here as part of the remote sensing office of the National Meteorological Service of Argentina.
Thank you, Martin. We also have Miguel Fernandez from Chile. Hello, Miguel. ¿Nos escuchas?
Hola, Diego. Muchas gracias por la invitación.
Thank you very much, Miguel. We also have Mikael Rattenborg. Hi, Mike. Can you hear us?
Yes, I hear you very well. Good morning, everybody.
Morning. We also have Sherry Morris. Can you hear us, Sherry?
I can. Good morning, everyone. I'm looking forward to today's meeting.
Thank you. Steve, can you hear us? Steve Goodman.
I can. Thank you. Buenos dias. Good morning.
Thanks, Steve. And we also have William Abarca from Marne, El Salvador. Hello, William. Hola, William.
Hello, Diego. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. And we have Zoya Andreva from WMO. Hi, Zoya.
Hello, everyone. Happy to see you all again.
We had some apologies from some colleagues. Cassie Ann Caesar from CIMH is traveling today. Kenneth Kerr from Cayman Islands will not be able to attend. He is organizing a couple of events. And Camilo Barahona from de la Dirección Meteorológica de Chile is attending a congress.
Diego?
Hola, Marcial.
I think Eliana from IDEAM came in later from afterwards, so maybe we can give some time for Eliana.
Okay. Hello, Eliana. Can you hear us? ¿Puedes escucharnos?
Eliana, de IDEAM. No te escuchamos.
Buenos días, ¿me escuchan? Qué pena, tengo problemas con el micrófono.
Claro, sí.
Bueno, acá los escucho. Ustedes, buenos días y muchas gracias por la invitación.
Claro,
Thank you,
gracias por estar
Eliana.
aquí.
So I think we have introduced everyone, and thank you very much. We really appreciate your participation on our teleconferences. Our first presentation today will be the SDR updates presented by the co-chairs. As we mentioned during our last teleconference, we have basically three major highlights and outcomes from the 5th meeting of the SDR group. First, the follow-up on the results of the regional survey and the GeoXO communication service plans. Second, the proposal of new task forces, new actions and recommendations. And third, the actions resulting from the updates of the SDR members with their challenges, requirements, and needs. Regarding the discussions about the GeoXO communication service plans, we may consider this task accomplished. The co-chairs had a preparatory meeting with NOAA, and a couple of weeks later, during our last teleconference, we had a Q&A session with the SDR members and NOAA. And all the resources, like the GeoXO data distribution plans, the GeoXO program overview, the recording, and a very detailed minute of the meeting is available at the SDR webpage. So thank you very much for your contributions during our last call. And we also would like to thank NOAA for this really early user engagement and say that the SDR group is available for future discussions and engagements. The second major highlight from our meeting in Medicine was the proposal of the creation of new task forces. And we also have been working on this with the community. And the objectives of these task forces are, first, to facilitate the utilization of underused satellite products in general through the data processing and visualization task force. And second, to facilitate the introduction of novel products into operations through the Product Assessment Task Force. We already had a meeting to discuss the Task Force number 1, and we should start discussing the Task Force number 2 with the group very soon. And as for the Data Processing and Visualization Task Force, the mission basically is to join the efforts from developers from different member countries and encourage the creation and distribution of open source solutions like scripts and visualization tools, and also encourage the inclusion of new satellite products into our own operations, and to create a common repository exchanging information that is useful for all members and exploring mainly the products that are still underused by the community in general. So the idea is that this group should be something very dynamic and that we all explore new satellite products together. And we have some participants from these task forces joining us today. So thank you very much. We had a first teleconference of this task force on October 27th. And we had 17 participants from 10 countries, as you may see here on this list. And we had a great engagement from the community, which is very nice. The recording of this teleconference is available, and the report should be available soon. And if you or someone in your institution, like technical aspects like programming and receive stations, please feel free to join or invite someone to join this task force. And here is the repository we have created for this task force on GitHub. And the third major highlight from the 5th SDR meeting was the SDR member updates, which resulted in some actions. We had presentations from 16 member countries with their challenges, requirements, and their needs. And we also had presentations from WMO, NOAA, CITWIG, and VLab. And all of that resulted in a draft action plan, as you may see on the right. And among these requirements, there are the ones related to GeoNetcast Americas regarding the addition of new products to the broadcast and the support of new installations. And these actions started right at the collective medicine meeting, and where some members had the opportunity to get donated DVB-S2 receiver from NOAA, like Argentina, Canada, and Cayman Islands. So we really thank NOAA for that. We really appreciate that. And apart from that, we had basically 3 requests from members. First, the addition of new products to the broadcast as listed on the box on the left. These requests have been reported to NOAA right after the satellite conference, and NOAA will kindly analyze the impact of these possible additions on a new GeoNetcast Americas manager position is filled. And another request from members was the reference equipment specifications, so they can procure the necessary equipment. So we have created a document and shared these documents with the members. And finally, Belize requested information on GeoNetcast America's turnkey solutions, and we also share this information with Belize. So thank you very much, Dwayne, for this interaction with us. Another action we have been working on is related to LEO data training as requested by some members. And this is one of the recommendations resulting from the 5th meeting of this group. Recommendation number 5.2, the SDR group recommends the organization of capacity building activities, prioritizing LEO, data access, processing, and visualization, and usage and integration with geodata. And based on both regional and global surveys, and also on the feedback from the community, training on polar orbiting satellites is a need. And also based on the surveys in the blue boxes, we have the areas of interest for capacity building. And also during the collective medicine meeting, we started discussing these future training activities, these possible future training activities. And during these discussions, we created a draft list of products and topics that could be explored. And this is also being discussed in other groups, with other groups like VLab. So we should have more information soon. Now talking about the actions established during our last meeting, based on the results of the survey and the updates from WMO. If we take a look on these actions, we see that it's all about engagement with the community. So we have, for example, action 5.1, organize periodical meetings with other initiatives. Action 5.2, contribute towards the development of the multi-hazard risk systems and climate services. Action 5.3, follow up on the creation of the Latin America meteorological satellite, providing the necessary advisory. Action 5.4, raise awareness on the group's activities and add participants to the engagement groups. Action 5.5, raise awareness on the available learning resources. And action 5.6, organize periodical meetings with the regional working groups and committees. So all of these actions are referring somehow to some kind of community engagement. And sorry. And since our last face-to-face meeting, we have been working on these connections as the satellite requirements, data requirements focal points. And we have presented the mission and activities of the SDR group and contributed as the SDR chairs in different meetings and events. And these new communication efforts between our group and other initiatives could greatly benefit the RA-III and RA-IV member countries. However, it's very important and crucial that the members understand what each one of these engagements mean and how they can benefit the countries. So we have created some reference slides with very basic information from these initiatives. And these slides will be available for you after this call. And we want to answer the following questions: what they are, why they are important, who are the participants and points of contact for each initiative, where you may find more information about it, when this interaction happened, how it could benefit the SDR group, and how the SDR group may collaborate with these initiatives in a two-way
más antiguo.
Hearing someone, can you please mute your
Porque aquí
microphone?
estaba Luis Maicincho de...
Hello?
A ver, ¿puedes abrirle ese?
Okay, thank you. So these slides will be available for your reference after the call. So let's very briefly make an overview of these engagements, starting with VLab. Marcel, do you want to make some comments?
Yes, I just wanted to mention that from VLab, from VLMG10, many aspects of the collaborations were discussed, training specifically, and organization, because those aspects they're very relevant to what's coming. And of course, with the new generation of satellites from the different agencies, from the different satellite operators, the user engagement is going to be crucial in succeeding in training people and getting the products to be utilized accordingly. So I'm not sure if there's any questions, because there's many of us here that collaborated in the VLMG10. So if there's some quick questions, we could address them. But yeah, mainly training and moving forward towards training a new generation of satellites.
Thank you, Marcel. And
this
we,
is
as
Bernie.
the
I'll just add one comment. I'll just add one comment. It's a vicious loop. We train, although if we don't have data, then the product isn't as useful and vice versa. So that's why a lot of us are involved in both data access as well as training.
Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, Bernie.
Another engagement, the WMO expert team on space systems and utilization. And ETSSU is basically an expert team created to monitor current and future space systems and to provide advice to increase the utilization of these systems, the data and the products, the usage of the data and products by the WMO members. We presented the SDR activities to this group in September, and we, as the SDR group, we may provide our perspectives on satellite data utilization for different applications. We may also use the ETSSU platform to interact with other regional initiatives focused on satellite data requirements. And we can also get up-to-date information related to space systems and their utilization, and be involved in the discussions with the satellite community. And also we may contribute providing feedback from users in the region and collaborate on the ETSSU initiatives like the satellite data requirements paper for nowcasting, for example, involving our regional user groups into these initiatives. Another engagement, which is the one with other initiatives that are similar to our satellite data requirements group, but in other regional associations. We have the SDR group in regions 3 and 4, but we also have other similar groups in other regions, like the RA-1 RA-III group in Africa, the RA-2 WIGOS project in Asia, and the RA-5 expert team on satellite utilization in the Southwest Pacific. We have presented our activities in the joint RA-2 and RA-4 coordination meeting last week. And, based on what we saw, they presented their challenges, needs, and requirements. We have very similar challenges and very similar needs across the regions. So the SDR group may benefit from this interaction, exchanging information with countries in other regions in order to find possible common solutions and other partnerships. Another engagement, the RGB Developers and Users Workshop. And these workshops are important because they discuss everything related to RGBs, like the applications, training, and development of new composites. And the goal is to make sure that RGBs are being used by the community and they are having the desired impact in our operations. We had 4 RGB workshops until now, 2007, 2012, 2017, and 2022. And we as the SDR group may benefit from this interaction by learning about the cutting edge RGB technology being used by the space agencies, and we can also provide feedback to those in charge of researching RGB applications. And we may contribute as a group with our own development and findings towards the improvements in the RGB utilization and applications. We can also contribute translating resources and guides as Chile and Costa Rica did in the past. And we can also collaborate organizing multilingual workshops and training events. Bernie or Marcel, do you have any other comments on this?
Yeah, I think, regarding the RGB workshop, it was very interesting to see how different agencies and different trainers and mid-services around the planet are using the RGBs, the process they follow to create them, and the complications in interpretation, how easily it can go from one satellite creating an RGB to another one, not quite the same, and those small changes creating impact in interpretation of the products. But it's also important to see how the SDR group, how our community relates to all of this that Diego has been shown. Because if we pay attention, we see the satellite experts with the instruments and the information being generated. We see the trainers with PLAB. We see the RGB workshop with how this data is going into production, into utilization, into operations. So it's very important to have this community perspective of what we need because then we can communicate it appropriately and get the information that we need for our purposes. I'm not sure if Bernie wants to say something or if the hand
Well,
still raised.
I'll just add one of your add on to one of the comments you made in terms of seeing all the variability across the globe. And it's the quick summary of that is one size does not fit all. And that's where the SDR is really important, because we want users to be able to make those small adjustments to have an RGB that fits their area. So I'll leave it at that right now. So
Excellent. Thank you, Marshall. Thank you, Bernie. And another connection, the Latin America Meteorological Satellite, as presented by, hello, Marcel, okay? Do you have any other?
Daniel raised his hand.
Oh, Daniel? Okay.
Yes, no, just a comment about the RGB workshop. This is quite important because right now we are dealing with early warning system for all. This is a big initiative from WMO. WMO is leading. The last 2 weeks in Egypt, there was a COP conference where this issue was raised. So I believe that the satellite information plays a big role on those early warning system, and I believe that the work of SDR should be a key element for those early warning systems. So I believe that the RGB is one of the tools that can help, for example, in nowcasting. So and others, of course. But this is quite important to stay tuned with that, because this is a big initiative from WMO for the next 5 years. Thank you, Diego.
Thanks, Daniel. Do we have any other comments? Okay. Next one, the Latin America Meteorological Satellite, as presented by Daniel during the WMO Regional Office for the Americas updates in our last face-to-face meeting. And basically, this is one of the priorities established by Regional Association 3. And this is very important because in RA-III we do not have a geosatellite developed by members from the region, and this would also be important to address the regional meteorological challenges, right? You may find a presentation with preliminary information on the SDR group webpage at this link here. And this Friday, we will have a first virtual meeting to discuss the high-level details of this project. And of course, this would greatly benefit our community, right? And would also promote technological and industrial development. Daniel, ¿tienes algún comentario? Do you have any comments on this? Or
the important thing is that we will have the first virtual meeting. So the basic idea is to establish a working group to study the feasibility in terms of budget, but also in terms of technological development, if it's possible to move forward with the project itself. So this will be a first meeting to establish this working group. So I believe again, this group has a lot of things to say because we can have the user's perspective, while there will be another group working on the technical aspect. We will have the voice on the user's perspective, what we need, what we would like to get with this new satellite, which are the gaps in the current system or the future system, because this is a long-term project, it's not for tomorrow. So I believe that the participation of experts of this group in this first meeting, of course, Marcial and Diego will be present there, but for sure we will have some outcomes to present to this group and perhaps to create some kind of task team to work on that user perspective issue. So this is, I believe, well, we will see what will happen next Friday. Thank you, Diego.
Thank you, Daniel. We are looking forward to this meeting. And finally, the engagement with the DBNet coordination group. And this is a very special one because today we have with us our colleagues, Mikael and Paula, who are from this group and kindly accept to present the DBNet activities and how the SDR group can interact with this group. And we presented the SDR activities during the last meeting of the DBNet coordination group. And one of the actions established is that we would have this presentation in the next SDR teleconference that is happening now. So now we will hand it over to Paula and Mikael. You may share your screens. Let me stop sharing.
Thank you, Diego. The plan is that I would first make a general introduction to DBNet and then hand over to Paula, who would talk about the activities in Argentina and what they are up to. And following both of our presentations, we could have a discussion about the possible coordination or cooperation between the DBNet group and SDR. So I'll just share, just a second. Oops. Just a second.
Okay. We are seeing your screen.
Yes, except I'm not seeing it. So.
Okay.
Okay, you see it now?
We are seeing your slides, but they are not maximized. Now they are maximized. Yeah. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm doing this presentation on behalf of the DBNet group. DBNet as a concept is a project for improving the global availability of near real-time low Earth orbit data by using a collection of direct broadcast stations distributed around the world. The primary user community for this is NWP, Regional and Global Numerical Weather Prediction. We try to ensure global consistency by using common software delivered by the satellite operators, consistent with the global processes, so that the products we derive from the DBNet stations are consistent with the corresponding global data. We have standardized coding and file naming conventions, and we have a global concept for quality monitoring. The dissemination of the products from DBNet are done by the WMO information systems, so at the moment primarily the GTS. The project is coordinated by the WMO Space Program, and it's supported by the Coordination Group for Meteorological Satellites, CGMS. Here I'm showing you as an example the coverage we're achieving. This is the status from November 2020. We're looking at products from the ATOFS instruments, so AMSU, MHS, on board the MEDOP and the old NOAA satellites that we achieved in November 2020. You can see here from this graph already that we're using receiving stations in South America. We have the station in Cordoba in the south that Paula is going to talk more about later. We have 3 stations in Brazil. 4 stations in Brazil, which are coordinated by INPE. And in addition, we have different stations around that are relevant to also to, of course, to Region 4. So NOAA is operating some stations in the Caribbean. We have stations in Miami and in Maracay on Puerto Rico. We have stations on the Easter Island and on Ascension in the Atlantic. And we have a station in Monterey, and then we have different stations in the US and in Canada. So we're covering very well both Region 3 and 4. The initial target that we wanted to achieve is to have almost global coverage, but of course, as you can see, there are geographical gaps where it's very difficult to provide receiving stations. So the global target was have 90% of the globe available on the GTS within 30 minutes. Based on the needs of the short-range weather prediction, numerical weather prediction community, we revised the latency goal to 20 minutes. So it means that within 20 minutes after the sensing from the satellite, so after the satellite observation was made, the data has to be available on the GTS. That's our global target. So you can see it's a very, very aggressive, very demanding timeliness target. But this is what is required by the numerical weather prediction models. We achieved this goal for the ATOFS instruments in 2017. But of course, since then, things have happened. New instruments have been coming on board, so we're still working on the geographical coverage. The DBNet system is composed on regional networks, which are coordinated by regional or sub-regional nodes. And globally, we're coordinating this through the DBNet coordination group. We have the link here to the corresponding website on the WMO web pages. The global monitoring of the products is performed by the EUMETSAT Numerical Weather Prediction Satellite Applications Facility, the NWPSAP. They provide some very nice monitoring pages with statistics about all the stations in the network. Last month, we were finally able to have a face-to-face coordination meeting, which was held at WMO in Geneva in the beginning of October. The regional networks, which are sort of grouping the stations together. We have a regional component which is organized by EUMETSAT. We have a component which is coordinated by JMA, covering the Northern Asia-Pacific region. We have the Southern Asia-Pacific region overseen by the Bureau of Meteorology. For South America, we have the Brazilian part, the Northern South American part, which is organized by INPE, and the southern part, which is organized by the Argentina Met Service and CONE. And finally, we have the NOAA system, which is coordinated by NOAA, but primarily by SIMS at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. We have a global document which provides guidelines as to how to organize the system, which was agreed by the Commission for Basic Systems of WMO in 2016. This is just to show you an overview of what is going on inside the DBNet systems. We, of course, have the antenna systems with the acquisition of the raw data. Then we have a processing up at the stations to level 0. And then we have centralized or local processing of the level 0 data up to level 1 products. We use both. In some cases, the processing is done at the stations. In other cases, done centrally. It's all done using standardized software, AAPP for the ATOF suite of instruments, CSPP for the ATMS and CRIS instruments. We are converting all the level 1 products to buffer and are disseminating this on the GTS. And in the case of EUMETSAT, they're also being provided on the EUMETCAST satellite-based broadcast system. And all the products are made available to all NWP centers. So the instruments that we are processing at the moment, you can see here a list of the services that we intended to start to process when we set out. Infrared microwave sounding data from the ATOF suite of instruments on board MEDOP and the POST satellites, ATMS on board the NOAA 20 and SUMI NPP satellite, and the microwave infrared sounding instruments on board the Chinese FY3 satellites. Since a few years, we've started processing hyperspectral infrared sounding data from CRIS and YASI. So CRIS on board NOAA 20 and SUMI NPP, YASI on board MEDOP. And we also intend to start processing data from the HIRAS instrument on FY3. In addition, at the time we started DBNet, we also envisaged 3 additional services, one for infrared visible imaging using VIRS, AVHR, and MERSI, one for scatterometry using ASCAT, and one for microwave imagery using the microwave imagers on board the different satellites. But the three last services are still only under consideration, have been implemented, some of them partially by EUMETSAT for the EUMETSAT stations, but not in a global way around the world. These are the satellites we're producing products from. So we have bands of orbits. We have the afternoon orbit satellites, the PM orbit satellites, where we're processing data from SUMI and PP, NOAA 20 and FY3. We have the early morning satellites, which are currently NOAA 19 and FY3E. And we have the mid-morning satellites, which are the MEDOP satellites and NOAA 18. Of course, NOAA 21 or JPSS-2 has very recently been launched, and this will, of course, enter into the configuration in the beginning of the new year. So I said this is a coverage we're achieving for the different instruments. So for ATOPS, we have almost global coverage. We can see some gaps in there. For ATMS, it's slightly less. We have a number of areas where we're not getting ATMS data from. CRIS and YASI, more or less the same. For the Chinese instruments from the vast suite of instruments on board FY3, we have quite limited coverage because at the moment it's only EUMETSAT who is processing the data operationally from FY3. So the main areas of concern in terms of coverage are Central Asia for ATMS and CRIS, Southern Pacific for CRIS and YASI, and Central and Southern Africa. So the coverage extensions we are currently working on, I'm just quoting them here from the last meeting. INPE are working on different cooperation projects regarding new stations in the Amazon area. We are looking together with KONE, but Paula is going to talk more about that, about high latitude stations in either in South America or on the Antarctic subcontinent. Météo France have a station in Cayenne in French Guiana, which is being added to the network very soon. Environment Canada are considering stations in the northern part of Canada, Inuvik and Iqaluit. Then we have Easter Island, which, as I said here, it is in principle available. The transmission of data from Isla de Pascua has recently been turned off for technical reasons, but it's still in the system. We are working on reintegrating China stations. China has been out of the network for a while. For Africa, we're talking about adding stations from the Sawidra project. So there will be stations in Libreville in Gabon, in Nairobi, Niamey, and Pretoria added to the system soon. And the Finnish Meteorological Service is adding a station in northern Finland. I would just like to mention, so the primary focus of DBNet is generation of level 1 products for numerical weather prediction, so for assimilation into numerical weather prediction systems. However, we're running on the stations, we're running the suite of software provided by SIMS in Madison called CSPP. And CSPP is actually also, in addition to the level 1 products for numerical weather prediction, is producing a wide range of products which are possible to use for local applications. And I've just provided for reference a list of them here. We have a range of cloud products from the VIIRS instrument on board SUMI and PP and NOAA 20. We have aerosol and volcanic ash products, also derived from VIIRS. A wide range of products, very useful for local applications. We have cryosphere products, so ice surface temperatures, ice concentration, ice thickness, and snow cover products. We have different land products, so land surface temperatures, land surface albedo, and fire products. We have a specialized range of sea surface temperature products, and we also have polar winds derived from the VIIRS imager. And we have a range of what is called in NOAA the unique combined atmospheric product suite, NUCAPS, derived from CRISM ATMS, which is trying to derive sounding data, or which is deriving sounding data from the infrared sounders and the microwave sounders. So you have vertical moisture profile, vertical temperature profile, carbon dioxide, monoxide, methane, ozone, and radiation products. So the data from the two sounders are converted into products which are very useful for a wide range of applications that are using sounding profiles. So this is just to summarize that these products are not at the moment considered as operational products from DBNet, but they are being generated at for all the stations in the area. And we have a corresponding range of specific products from the microwave sounder, ATMS, cloud liquid water, different ice products that are specific to the microwave sounding instrument. So this concludes my part, and then I would like to pass to Paula to cover the activities in Argentina.
Thank you, Mikael. And Paula, if you want to share your screen and go ahead.
Sí, perfecto. I don't know if I can't. Hola a todos, ¿se me escucha bien? ¿Se puede ver la,
Sí, pues perfecto.
la presentación? ¿Se ve bien?
Sí, nada más que está en... Ok, ahora sí, listo. Adelante.
Sí. Bueno, buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es María Paula Hobouchian. Por las dudas, para los que no me conocen, me presento. Soy investigadora del Servicio Meteorológico Nacional en Argentina. Estoy con el grupo de censuramiento remoto y trabajo principalmente en lo que es el estudio, validación y calibración de productos de precipitación por satélite en Argentina. Y en el 2020 he comenzado como coordinadora regional del proyecto DBNet de la OMM que les comentaba Mikael, a trabajar junto con Sebastián Sanfilippo, quien es el responsable de operaciones desde la Agencia Espacial de Argentina. Estamos trabajando juntos en este proyecto. Y bueno, agradezco mucho la invitación, ser parte de la teleconferencia, y les voy a contar un poco del estado, planes y compromisos del proyecto en lo que es la región al sur de Sudamérica. Me voy a introducir brevemente en inglés, la presentación está toda en inglés y la voy a contar en español. Así que cualquier cosita que pueda remarcar en inglés también lo voy a hacer. My name is María Paula Hobouchian. I'm a researcher from the National Meteorological Service in Argentina. I work with the remote sensing group, mainly on the study, validation, and calibration of satellite precipitation products in Argentina. And joined with Sebastián Sanfilippo from the Space Agency in Argentina, we are working on the WMO DBNet project that just Mikael told you, and since 2020. The presentation is, all the information is in English. I'm going to speak in Spanish. I hope you can follow it well, but let me know if you have any doubts or questions. I'm going to start now with the presentation. Entonces, este es el lineamiento de la presentación. Les voy a contar del estado y los planes de las estaciones, los planes de soporte para las nuevas misiones satelitales en Argentina, alguna información y desafíos de cada estación, la distribución de los datos, las acciones de investigación que surgieron de la última reunión de coordinación del proyecto y algunas consideraciones finales. Entonces, esta es un poco la lista de estaciones actual que tenemos al sur de Sudamérica. Tenemos la estación de Córdoba, Tierra del Fuego y Marambio. Este es el estado de los servicios que están operativos y en planificación en estas tres estaciones que tenemos en la región. Y un poco esta tabla lo que muestra es que actualmente, si bien están las condiciones actuales, es que los servicios están fuera de servicio o en planificación, les voy a contar un poco las buenas noticias de este periodo de transición hacia la actualización o incorporación de una nueva estación que va a contribuir con la red de DBNet. Entonces, actualmente tenemos planes de actualización en la estación de Córdoba y la incorporación de una nueva estación que, si bien ya está trabajando para una misión satelital en la región, se va a incorporar a la red de DBNet, que es en Tierra del Fuego, en altas latitudes, que era de interés para este proyecto. y tanto el sistema de antena como de procesamiento es de una compañía coreana de punta a punta, lo cual va a facilitar el funcionamiento de la red. Por otro lado, no hay planes de actualización a la estación de Marambio, esto considerando las limitaciones de acceso y conectividad en este momento, que luego les voy a contar más en detalle. El principal problema en la estación de Marambio es el sistema antena, que necesita un soporte en el sitio que no se pudo realizar por la pandemia. Pero sí ahora actualmente se está programando un viaje durante el verano que espera al menos recuperar los servicios previos que estaban funcionando anteriormente. Luego, para lo que son las actividades meteorológicas en el futuro cercano, lo que se espera es que Marambio pueda ser cubierta con la actualización de la información desde Tierra del Fuego, y esto sí va a depender de que pueda haber alguna mejora en lo que es la conectividad en la estación de Marambio. Los planes para poder realizar soporte a las nuevas misiones satelitales, como comentaba Mikael, tienen que ver con esta recepción y procesamiento en Córdoba y Tierra del Fuego para los satélites de órbita baja. A partir de la compañía Soletop tenemos el sistema de antena en banda X y banda L, y el sistema de recepción de llave en mano a partir de GlobeTrack de la misma compañía. Entonces, esto de que sea una compañía de punta a punta es una ventaja para las actividades. Un poco yendo al detalle de cada estación, bueno, aquí pueden ver la estación de Córdoba, una imagen de cada una de las estaciones. Estos son los satélites que operaban hasta el momento de dejar de estar, de pasar a estar fuera de servicio, que necesita un reemplazo del equipo para poder seguir funcionando. Entonces, como pueden ver en el mapa, es una ubicación central que está fuera de servicio por cuestiones de las antenas que no están funcionando y que necesita un reemplazamiento, y problemas en el sistema de procesamiento. Entonces, se va a cambiar el equipo para poder generar estos productos, y además las antenas que estaban funcionando no podían dar soporte a la segunda generación del satélite METOP. En este sentido, se decidió actualizar la estación y se contrató a partir de esta licitación pública internacional lo que es el sistema de antena y procesamiento para generar productos hasta nivel 2 para los satélites de órbita baja, y la compañía que les comentaba. La fecha de instalación propuesta es febrero del 2023, que es cuando se espera empezar a recibir y procesar la información de interés. En el caso de Tierra del Fuego, que está abocada actualmente a lo que es la misión SAUCOM en Argentina, bueno, aquí tienen una imagen y la ubicación de la estación. Nuevamente, en este caso es una ubicación excelente, que tiene, sí, condiciones de acceso y buena conectividad en altas latitudes. Es la nueva opción de contribución que se decidió para los servicios de DBNet en Argentina. Y también está el proceso de la licitación pública internacional, que se espera que sea efectivo con la misma compañía que va a actualizar los servicios en Córdoba. En este caso, la fecha estimada de instalación y puesta en marcha es mediados del 2023. En el caso de Marambio, algún detalle en cuanto a lo que es esta estación. Bueno, la ubicación. Estos son los satélites que estaban operando previamente, que se espera poder recuperar, aunque sea la adquisición de estos servicios. Es una ubicación estratégica, pero en este caso sí hay limitaciones serias de acceso y conectividad. Se habían realizado mejoras en el ancho de banda a partir de un convenio con el satélite de comunicación, pero esa mejora no es suficiente para lo que es el volumen de datos actual para las nuevas misiones satelitales, para poder trabajar con las nuevas misiones satelitales. Ahí surgió los planes de evaluar por lo menos la posible reparación del sistema de antena y recuperar los servicios operativos hasta el 2020. Y con la campaña de verano de la Antártida y el soporte técnico desde la Comisión Nacional de Actividades Espaciales, se espera que ahora 2 personas van a poder realizar este apoyo en el lugar y van a poder viajar entre el 16 y 18 de diciembre de este año. Así que bueno, esperamos poder recuperar, aunque sea los servicios previos. Y como les decía, a partir de la actualización en Tierra del Fuego, que pueda luego recibir los datos más actuales. Esto muestra un poco el circuito de distribución de la información, donde ahora se puede incorporar la estación de Tierra del Fuego. Se venía trabajando de la siguiente manera, los datos se distribuyen por FTP, lo que son los datos de procesamiento hasta el nivel 1C en formato buffer, van hacia la oficina de Reino Unido para lo que es funcionamiento del proyecto de DBNet, y luego hacia el servicio meteorológico también van los boletines meteorológicos que se distribuyen por el sistema de telecomunicación global. Aquí les muestro un poco lo que son las acciones de investigación que surgieron de la última reunión del grupo de coordinación de DBNet. Considerando la actualización de la estación en Córdoba en el 2023, surgieron algunas acciones de investigación que aquí les detallo un poco brevemente. Trabajar en lo que es el estudio del impacto de los datos de DBNet en baja latencia, es decir, el beneficio de los datos cercanos al tiempo real, cómo esto mejora lo que es el pronóstico numérico regional, en el caso del servicio meteorológico del WRF, el modelo WRF. Entonces la idea es comenzar evaluando este plan con el grupo de trabajo en el servicio, y empezar este trabajo guardando un periodo de análisis con toda la información de interés que va a estar disponible a partir del 2023. Luego poder comparar el impacto de la nueva información, o sea, de los servicios actuales, comparado con los servicios previos en lo que es la asimilación de datos del modelo de pronóstico numérico regional en el servicio. Y por el otro lado, y en línea con lo que les mostraba Mikael del paquete de software, también poder estudiar el impacto de estos datos de baja latencia en lo que son otras áreas de trabajo operativa en el servicio meteorológico. Por ejemplo, evaluar la utilidad de los sondeos satelitales, o sea, los productos de sondeos satelitales, en lo que es, por ejemplo, la Oficina de Pronóstico Operativa del Servicio Meteorológico Nacional. Y en esta misma línea, estudiar lo que es la experiencia, por ejemplo, del progreso de la NOAA, en lo que es los NUCAPs que mostraba Mikael, el impacto de lo que son los productos de sondeos satelitales en lo que son las aplicaciones de nowcasting. O sea, poder analizar la experiencia y ver si uno podría, a partir de la actualización de las estaciones, poder instalar, por ejemplo, el paquete que mostraba Mikael y estudiar toda esta experiencia que ya hay en la temática. Y como consideraciones finales de mi parte, si bien las estaciones de DBNet están fuera de servicio en Argentina en este momento, es un periodo de transición hacia la actualización de la estación de Córdoba, una nueva estación de la red en Tierra del Fuego y el posible soporte técnico en la estación de Marambio para recuperar los servicios previos. Afortunadamente, las nuevas instalaciones son de una compañía de punta a punta que va a favorecer los desafíos hacia las nuevas misiones satelitales. El trabajo continúa para poder recuperar la mayoría de los servicios en el año próximo y poder continuar expandiendo y manteniendo la red con el soporte remoto desde Córdoba y la coordinación desde Buenos Aires en el Servicio Meteorológico Nacional. Y por último, estas acciones de investigación, en caso de poder realizarse, esperamos que puedan contribuir con el proyecto DBNet y poder justamente visibilizar. Así que, bueno, muchas gracias a todos.
Muchísimas gracias, Paula. Bueno, muchísimas gracias por tu presentación. Creo que tenemos un minuto como para si hubiera alguna pregunta o algún comentario rápido, nada más.
Marcial, I have a question. Tengo una pregunta. Can you hear me?
Sí, adelante.
Okay. Regarding how the SDR group may collaborate to the DBNet coordination group, as we have added on this reference slide, I think that outreach and engagement would be one of the important topics, so we can reach LEO stations, possible LEO stations that are not contributing to DBNet. So my question is based on the coverage map shown by Mikael. We already have a great coverage in RA-III and RA-IV. So my question is, if a member country has a LEO station that is still not contributing to DBNet, but they are under a region that is already covered, is it still interesting to have this contribution to serve as a backup, for example? So if you have a problem as in a particular station, as the ones mentioned by Paula, this additional station could help on that. And I'm asking that because one of our SDR members, Mexico in this particular case, they have a station in Mexico City, and they are not, as far as I know, they are not contributing yet to DBNet. However, I see that the region is well covered, but we have some little gaps. So I wonder if it would be interesting to have this contribution from Mexico, for example. So I wonder if you can clarify that. Thank you.
Yes, I can clarify that. Robustness is an important issue, as you say, as Paula described. Then a number of the stations have a single antenna, have limited redundancy, so the overall network depends on overlap between stations. The stations in Mexico are, of course, interesting. What is required is, of course, from our point of view, of course, an operational system that is acquiring data on an operational basis and are processing these operationally, an interface to the National Met Service for providing the data onto the GTS to provide them to the National Numerical Weather Prediction Centers, and local expertise and local commitment to maintaining up-to-date operational software, because it's a basic requirement that all the software which is being provided by the satellite operators, both CSPP, AAPP, etc., is always maintained at the operational versions, because that's the only way we can maintain the consistency of the delivered products. So there needs to be a basic commitment of operating and maintaining the stations and providing data on a continuous basis. But if that commitment exists, then of course we can also consider. Just like to mention here that SIMS in Wisconsin have established partnerships with a number of receiving stations around the world, so that these receiving stations are providing level 0 data to SIMS from the different passes, and then the processing to the DBNet product level, and also the processing to GTS format, so the buffer encoding is performed in the US. So the local station is acquiring the data and are then providing the raw data to SIM. So there are different models where a station can contribute to the network, either having local processing or providing the data to a central node for further processing. But we're definitely interested in cooperations with additional stations. And the team in Mexico, they are invited to contact me, also to talk to Paula, because to get the information about what is actually required to be a provider in detail. That would be very useful. And then we could think about models of incorporating it. Mexico is definitely not well covered. I mean, we have a station, we have stations in the southern US, but in the Caribbean, we at times lack robustness of the overall system. That's quite clear.
Thanks, Mikael. I think it's a great effort for the collaboration, and I think LANOT can definitely contribute. I see Daniel and Gabriela have their hands raised. So, Daniel?
Yes, just a couple of comments. One of the question for Mikael is how the system is prepared for the transition for a WIS 2.0, because there will be a new information system at WMO starting next year. So this will be nice to get some information about that.
I mean, WIS 2.0 is starting now. It's entering into a pilot phase. It will be. There's lots of background noise. Sorry. There will be a long pilot phase, but we are working with the people in the WIS 2.0 team to see how the DBNet products can be provided in the most efficient manner in the new system. So we're performing some trials for WIS 2.0, but at the moment the operational system is the GTS. and we are using that for the dissemination of products. And it will be quite a while before the WIS 2.0 is fully implemented operationally. But we are working with the WIS 2.0 team.
Okay, thank you. And one more question for Diego. Can you make some kind of update of what is happening in Brazil with DBNet?
Yes, we are currently under, a couple of our stations are under maintenance, Daniel. And right now we have 4 people being engaged on the efforts of these maintenance activities. So as far as I remember, one of our stations is 100% okay. The other one is 50%, and the other one is not working at all. And we are currently working with Sensipam, which are the TV stations from the Amazon region. So we have 100% of success in the near future. So yes, we are working on that. Thank you.
Okay, Gaby, bajo la mano. Gaby, do you want to comment or?
Yes, well, I think I can contact directly with Paula or
Mikael.
Mikael, and so we can work together. We have the commitment to provide the data in an operational way, so we can figure out through SIMS or directly to the institutions that are required. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. Okay, now we can move on to the next presentation, which is Gabriela from LANOT.
Diego?
Go ahead, Mikael.
Go ahead, Mikael.
I mean, of course, the prospect of adding new stations to DBNet is interesting, but to me, at least, the interesting is if the activities that we're doing in DBNet, so coordinated processing of polar orbiting data, could be of value to the SDR community by providing additional products, because we are deriving, as I showed, using the CSPP software, we have the potential of deriving a wide range of products that could be made available regionally, possibly using the WIS 2.0 infrastructure, because that would simplify things to a large extent to make these data available to other services in the region. And I think that is something I think should be explored, because we would be able to provide very fast access to nowcasting products, for example, the NewCaps products that are being derived locally and which could be made available to services in that region. And I think one thing I would like you to explore was, is there an interest from the SDR community in getting access to these data?
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure, Mike. This is an excellent action that we could establish in a group, right? As you mentioned, provide very fast access to LEO-derived products as NewCaps, and NewCaps is under the list that we have shown earlier in one of our slides.
Exactly.
So yes, definitely we can work on that.
But I think it's important to remark what Bernie said before, because if we ask the users, you need this data, and they don't have access to it, and they have never seen it before working, they're not gonna know they need it. So this is
So, but Paula also said that it's one of the tasks in Argentina to look at the benefits of the local service of using the NewCaps products from DBNet for local activities. So I think it would be very useful to follow up on this.
Thank you very much. Okay, our next point is Gabriela's presentation about a collaboration about Sargassum. I don't want to take any time from Gabriela, so I'm immediately going to Gaby. You can share your slides and start with the presentation.
Thank you. Let me share. Let me know if you can see it now. Okay.
Yes. Sí, adelante.
Okay. Well, let me talk a little bit about the background of this project. We had, we are, of course, in Mexico at the National University, and we are the National Earth Observation Laboratory. So the problem in Mexico is huge, as well as I know in many Caribbean countries, we have a huge amount of sargassum. Sargassum has always been at the sea, in the coast of Mexico, but not in this amount. So from around 2013, it increased, and it's a very, very serious problem because it is in one of the most touristic places in Mexico, which is the Riviera Maya and Cancun, places like that. So, well, the problem is not only for touristic activities. It's an environmental problem. It now has a lot of animals living in the sargassum, like this fish or turtles or any kind of fauna or other fishes. So what also the coral reefs are suffering from it. So we tried to get some funding. We never did, but we started working at the National Laboratory of Earth Observation, which is in these images. And we try to have a system to see if we can get a system that could detect large parts of sargassum and to prevent the arrival to the coast. We are not an institution that has the duty of preventing the arrival. So our main objective is to have a detection system from remote sensing systems that could help other institutions like the Navy, that has the duty of gathering the sargassum to prevent it the arrival to the coast. So what we did is to start with this study area and to try to gather satellite images and to see how could we have a system which detects the large patches of sargassum. And at the beginning, it was just Mexico, but we found out that the system, that the flow of sargassum comes right here. So it was very important for us to extend the area for our country. I mean, it's two different countries, but the influence of the sargassum coming to Mexico was huge. So we decided to go to Sentinel-2, which we don't receive directly, of course, but we have the access because it's free images that we can get access through internet. And we set a system that receives in an automatic way this area every 5 days that we have a Sentinel images, and it's an approx area of 150,000 kilometers. So we have images available from 2015, and we already have the archive. All those images are archived and processed from that moment. We are in the process right now of making a map that shows the distribution per year and an overall distribution of the sargassum in the Mexican Caribbean. And well, we have the capacity of processing and archiving of those images, and at LANOT. So we develop a system that has an automatic download of images. It goes through an atmospheric correction. It's the programs that SNAP has, that the Copernicus system uses. So it's a standard atmospheric correction. So we use several bands, and we have our own developed algorithm that detects the large masses. I mean, it's not detecting everything. It's detecting the large masses. That's I'm going to show you some examples later. And of course, have compositions that are later ingest in our visualization system. So we mask clouds, land, and everything. And we have further processing to filter things like the cloud shadow is something that really messes with the algorithm. I mean, it's like an aleatory values that sometimes are false positives. So we work very close with that problem to produce at the end a bitmap, absence or presence of sargassum, and then to vectorize it and make polygons from it, and to have at the end a sargassum database. We apply different masks, and in the process we made our own coastlines and things like that. This is an example of what we're detecting. We're detecting here a large mass of sargassum, and at the end we get only a bitmap with the presence or absence. And we decided to use those bands because they were the most characteristic for the sargassum detection. So I'm not going to be to go further into this because I want to show you. Well, at the same time, there's another group of scientists working with the, right now we are using HICOM, the seas movements, and we are trying to model the movement of the sargassum, as you can see here. Let me put it again, perhaps. Those points are the points that are generated by our system. It's the centroids from the polygons that we produce, and we're trying to have a model to determine which ones are the ones that are going to end up at the coast and which are not, because it's very important. I have another animation. And the red points are the ones that are arriving to the beaches, and the others are going further north from Mexico. So we have other groups that are working, doing field work, measurement, radiometric measurements, and buoys that are going to determine the movement of the sargassum. But the problem we have is that the project that we have right now, it's to detect the movement very close to the shore. So we don't have as means of having buoys placed in further into the sea. So we also have drone data, which provides very detailed data for selected places like Puerto Morelos, Acumal, and places like that, but not all over the coast. So it's very difficult to have such high resolution information for all the coast, but it's really important because it's piling in the coast, and to get rid of these piles, it's a problem because the soil in the Caribbean is in Mexico, in the Yucatan Peninsula, is calcareous, and it has the characteristic cenotes that are holes, and the water goes under the soil. So it's a big problem for Mexico. So it's very important for us to detect. So we have a large area. The red dots are the places where sargassum is in a specific day. So we share the information through a visualizador de sargasso, which is shared by I'm going to provide you later on the links. But this is for Mexico. So we have already set a visualization system that updates in an automatic way. So every day we have, every 5 days we have information from the sargassum, and we have different ways to look at the information. We made our own coastline, because the coastlines we have were not at the detail or updated for the system. So right now we can say where is the Sargassum, how far is from the coast, and in which system it landed. I mean, it was a wetland or a natural protected area, a beach and touristic area, etc. So we know that the coverage of Sentinel is wider, and we are starting to look into the Caribbean Ocean to see if we can set a system that detects Sargassum all over the Caribbean Ocean, including all the Antilles and all the islands. So the first draft we have here is this one that we already, at the beginning of the last month, we have only this area covered. Now we have covered into extending to Antigua and Barbuda, because we have requests from other groups in the area. And now we're extending the area and we are proving capacities. What happens is, well, we cannot detect Sargassum in a specific day for the whole area because the passes from Sentinel are not at the same day. I mean, this strip is one day and the next day will be this area cover and so on. So that's bad news that we cannot have a map for the same day for the entire area, but it's lucky, or it's a good news for in another sense, because we can have one day process and then the next day we can process this following area and so on. So that way we can, using the same equipment that we already have, to process all the area. Right now, our problem will be very soon the archiving capacities. We need to increase archiving capacities to have all the data, the database, the geodatabase constructed. So, but right now we are proving the system. We need to work furthermore to have the coastline as well as detailed as we have for Mexico. We need to have more information from the countries to have where the most important areas like natural protected areas, wetlands, mangroves, etc., etc. So we already have this area. This is the one. It was yesterday, 2 days ago, and that's the detection. And that's the islands that is covering our system right now. So we are looking forward to increase the area and to cover all the Caribbean islands. And this is not my work, it's a work of a large group that we're working together to get our system working for all the Caribbean. So that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gabi. I think it's a very interesting effort, and it's definitely very important to follow up on this because of the Caribbean benefit from a product that was already working in the region. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much. I think we have time for. Yeah, thank you. I think we have time for 1-2 questions quickly, and then move on to any other businesses today, and that will be the end of the meeting. Are there any other questions, comments?
Unfortunately, some of our Caribbean colleagues were not able to attend today, but if they send any questions, I will let the group know. Thank you very much, Gabi, for your presentation and for this great initiative from LANOT.
Yeah,
welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me share the
ya yo los compartí, Gaby, los enlaces. Ya yo compartí los enlaces.
¿Perdón?
Ya yo compartí los enlaces.
Ajá.
Bernie?
Yeah, this is Bernie. I have a quick question. Can you, based on, say, you're using an ocean model flow. Do you also use, well, I guess I'm assuming perhaps that's also coupled with the atmosphere. So
Yes.
can you predict, say, the arrival of Sargassum within like a week?
Yeah, well, the system is set for 5 days because it's the gap we have between one passant and the other. And we're, well, I'm not doing that, but our colleagues are working with different amounts of wind, let's say. Wind is very important, and they have a good accuracy as it looks, because we don't have any means to prove that it's exactly that one pack of Sargassum actually arrived as with the way we predicted. But it looks very well according with the information we have, and it's only for 5 days. That's what we are working.
Okay. And then you may or may not know the answer to this is why, do you know, are there any theories as to why there's been a huge increase in Sargassum? Does it have to do with ocean temperatures or nutrients or?
Yeah, all of this. It's nutrients is the Sahara dust also. They say that it has, yeah, it's the perfect and temperature and pollution, everything.
Okay.
And where it comes, it's a good question. Some people say that it's the Sargassum Sea, that some masses go further south and then go to Africa and then go back. I don't know exactly, but it's all a theory.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's another question from Gabi, from Carol. Sorry.
Hi, yeah, I just want, yeah, are you hearing me?
Yes.
Hello, okay. Gabby, I want to say a very big thank you for this initiative to you and your team. It seems as though efforts for detecting Sargassum are pretty much still in infant stages, and but it's still a move in the right direction. Is your team looking at any way at all? I know there's a limitation based on the 5-day pass for Sentinel-2, but is there any push at all to reduce that to make a higher temporal resolution?
Yeah, well, we're working right now with planet images that we had access, but the problem is that they are paid. I mean, it's private. Yeah. So the issue here is the cost of having that system provide. And as I have seen, Planet doesn't have every day. They have gaps every day. So, and it only covers the coast. So right now, I don't know any other system that has a higher resolution that can be free as Sentinel and high resolution as Sentinel. It's a very good resolution for the whole area and has a very nice the wavelengths that it's a radiometric resolution. It's very, very good. So I don't know if somebody knows about something else that could be done.
Okay, thanks. And one other question. I'm not sure if we have an answer to this, but you had indicated that your Navy would try to prevent the Sargassum mats from coming in. So which means to say that it'll probably they would be diverted back into the ocean. Do we, or does anybody know how long these mats last in their natural state out at sea?
Well, at sea, I think they can, I don't know if forever, but they look pretty healthy. They don't provoke any problem. The problem comes at the coast, because at the coast they stop moving, and at the moment they stop moving, they begin dying and sinking, and they release some organic matter that makes the sea not being clear as it is always. So coral reefs doesn't receive sun, so that's a huge problem. But all that problem happens at the coast. And meanwhile, in open sea, it's the place where many other creatures live and protect.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, Gabby. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So this is Bernie again. I'll add one more comment. I recently heard a presentation from Météo France. They're using some you know, and I forget all the details, so I'll have to forward the recording because I got that just recently. And they're doing some forecasting for some of the French islands like Guadeloupe and Martinique. So the two of you may want to chat a little bit about what you're doing. So.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
We are also in contact with other groups inside Mexico that are also doing the modeling. Yeah. So I hope soon enough we can come with a better model than the one that I showed. But thank you, Bernie. Thank you.
Thanks, Gabriela.
Okay, thank you very much, Gabby. I think this concludes the presentation. Now we move to any other businesses, and we'd like to hear from you if you have anything else to add today.
Do we have any questions or comments?
This is Sherry. Marcial, did you want to comment on the WMO NOAA workshop coming up? The registration is open. Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. Go ahead, Sherry.
It's fine. As some of the folks on this call already know, we've got a virtual workshop coming up December 5th through 8th. It is English only, Monday through Thursday, hosted by our Caribbean partners, CIMH, and registration is open. We are still adjusting agenda a little bit, but we do actually have sessions on sources of training. So forecasters and others can access training anytime beyond just the workshops. So I think some of those sessions will be interested to folks, as well as discussions on coastal issues, including Sargassum and some other influences that folks might be interested in. And thanks to Bernie for hosting the landing page.
Okay, thank you, Sherry, for the information. We will
let me know if you
disseminate
have
it
any questions.
Thanks. Diego, maybe can you send the link in the chat? Okay, any other comments, questions? Okay. If there is none, we thank you for your participation today. It was a very interesting meeting. We learned from DBNet and also from the LANOT products. And of course, we follow up in some of the actions and interesting recommendations from the SDR group. We will see each other next year. I think this is the last meeting of this year. So we'll see each other next year, hopefully during trainings and activities and events, and of course the teleconferences. Diego?
No, just would like to say thank you, everyone, for your contributions. This year have been very productive for the SDR group, and we have a great foundation and plenty of activities for the next months. We should get in contact soon with the group to discuss task force number 2 and how it would interact with task force number 1. So thank you very much, everyone, for all your contributions and presentations.
Muchísimas gracias a todos. Okay. Thank you.
Gracias.
Okay.
Gracias.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you later. Bye.
Muchas gracias.